Got it. Welcome. Welcome to Community Zoom. This evening, we honor two influential and outstanding women leaders during Women's History Month. I will share a brief introduction of each speaker, and then the audience will have the opportunity to ask questions, as Donna stated. Our aim is to shine a light on the major roles they play in our communities by hearing and learning about her story through history. Our first speaker, Dr. Barbara E. Garrison, is a retired educator with a Bachelor of Science degree in biology, a Master of Science degree in health sciences, and a doctoral degree in Christian ministry and church administration. She is a 40-year resident of University Park, where she raised three daughters. She served as the president of the Illinois District Council Missionary Women's Auxiliary of the Pentecostal Assemblies of the World from 2006 to 2012. Dr. Garrison is truly an unsung hero, and she's my hero because she's my mentor, who has been substantive yet unrecognized contributions to her community and society as a whole. She has mentored many young women, and she goes in and out working and helping where needed without seeking fame or acclaim. Dr. Garrison put boots on the ground, working and giving hope in Senegal, West Africa, and improving the quality of lives for children, lepers, and villages. Please welcome Dr. Barbara Garrison.
Thank you, Mrs. Lawson, and good evening to everyone. I certainly hope that all of you can hear me clearly. Just a thumbs up if it's coming through okay. Great. Okay, well, thank you to Mrs. Lawson and the committee members for the opportunity to speak for the next few minutes on this virtual platform in recognition of Women's History Month. And I do see that there are a couple of men on the committee tonight or on the platform. So we want to salute them, but I really want to salute every woman that has joined us this evening for all that you do in your families, communities, your churches, and in the workplace. Oftentimes, we really are the glue that just holds the family together, and we're the grease that keeps those wheels a turning. So I want to salute each and every one of you. I have been a resident of the village of University Park for just about 40 years. And I've always believed in the concept of the village. So it's so appropriate that I live in the village because I do know the importance of the village and its involvement in raising children and encouraging our young people to do their personal best. My professional career spanned some 34 years as a teacher in the public school system of the state of Illinois. For 21 years, I worked in Chicago, and for the last 13 years in Community High School District 218 in an alternative program for what is known as at-risk youth. And, we're all at risk for one thing or another, but these were children that had a lot of rough bumps in the road. Many of them had challenges from home, substance abuse, domestic violence, living in all types of situations, many of which many of us probably have never experienced. And so while I was there for those last 13 years of my career, 12 of those years, after working all day, I also took part in the homebound tutoring program. And that was a program that was sponsored by the district, that the purpose of it was for any students that we had that had to have surgery or hospitalization for any reason, as well as those that had babies, because we had a lot of children, a lot of the teens had babies. They were given 6 weeks of homebound tutoring. So for 12 years, after working each day, It depends on how many students I had, sometimes two, sometimes three, every once in a while one. But each one of them, they were entitled to an hour of tutoring. And during those sessions, I would tutor them in all of their subjects, especially the ones that they needed support in. I would take them work from each of their teachers. So I'd have to run around the building and get work from each of their teachers. And then I'd collect their homework and then I'd bring it back on the next go round. And if you can imagine that going on for 12 years, while I was doing that, I was being engaged with my own three daughters. I had one that was, I think, in middle school when I started, one in high school, and one just about to come out of high school. And so this went on until they were finished with school. And so I was engaged with them. My daughters were always actively involved with the band, with the sports, all types of extracurricular activities. I kept them in college for kids. I'd be out in the yard working when the school children would get off of the bus because I wanted those kids, even up and down the block that I live on, to see there's a familiar face. There's a parent out here. I'd wave at them and say, hi, hope you had a good day. You know, went on field trips. The kids on the block, all of the kids on the block at that time, they knew that Miss Garrison would probably be in her yard or in her window watching them, seeing if they got to their houses safely. And it was not uncommon for me to say, hey, get out of the street. You see those cars coming, and just expressing an interest in those children. So over the years, I've experienced a lot of things, not only with coworkers, parents, grandparents, and students, but as a mother and a grandmother, I and an aunt, I stayed really busy with a lot of activities. I've always been fortunate enough to have a lot of family support, support from not only my siblings and my children, but also my church family, my friends. I see Pastor Dr. Gwen Appleberry there that I met when we went to the inauguration for President Barack Obama. We became friends, and she supported something that was so very important to me. One thing that I've come to know is that no experience that you have is ever wasted if you learn from it, whether that experience is positive or negative. You can learn something from it. It'll help you with the next move, the next phase, or the next shift of your life. As Mrs. Lawson said, Evangelist Lawson said, I retired, well, kind of officially in 2006, but I didn't get it right. I'll tell you about that later because believe it or not, I'm still working. But I retired in 2006. And at the time of my retirement, I also became the state president for the Illinois District Council Missionary and Women's Auxiliary. And at that time, we were a council of about 70 churches. I'm giving you the short version because it's so much stuff that has gone on. 3 years prior to my retirement, I had accompanied my sister on a trip to Senegal, West Africa. And while I was there, I saw and experienced some things that it really sent me into culture shock. It changed my life forever. But the experiences that I had took me back to Senegal 11 more times. And over that period of time, I have had formed many relationships, many connections. My sister and I established a lot of connections. And so these were connections and relationships that were established with people that looked just like me. I would see all of these Black faces when I would get up and move around in Senegal, West Africa. We were in Dakar, Senegal, but these were people, they were intelligent, they were hardworking, talented, very skilled, but they were born into abject poverty. And as I looked at many of those little children, women who were much younger than me, but they looked much older than me because of the hard life that they had, something moved and shifted inside of me, and I just could not return home and do nothing. I thought about my children and grandchildren, and the comforts that they had, and all of the needs, all of their needs were met. And I saw so many children whose parents couldn't even give them aspirin if they had a headache, or they couldn't give them any Pepto or Tums if they had an upset stomach. Forget about going to the doctor. I saw families that were living in the streets. I saw lepers, villages of lepers, and something moved and shifted in my heart, and I had to keep returning. I thought I'd retire and that I'd be traveling all over the world. That was my plan. When my children get grown and I retire, I'm going to be doing XYZ. But no, didn't happen like that. I have traveled quite a bit, but I found that my heart kept leading me back to Senegal, West Africa. These people living in abject poverty where there's virtually no social systems. You have a few people that are extremely wealthy and they're living at the expense of the masses and masses and droves of people. I did have the pleasure of having two of my three daughters travel with me. The last two visits, the one prior to the last one, my middle daughter went, and on the very last time that I went, my youngest daughter went. And we have been able, with the help of the missionary auxiliary of the state, of the Illinois District Council, families, friends, co-workers, to accomplish some great products. I, during my administration as the president of that auxiliary, we decided that we really wanted to do some missionary projects. So we adopted a village that I had toured when I went on my first, I'm telling you, that first go round, I was just in culture shock. I just could not believe the way I saw people living in little shacks, no running water, no plumbing, no bathrooms. The water was polluted. The first thing that they tell us when you get there, don't drink the water. Whatever you do, don't forget, don't drink the water. So before we ever went to a hotel, we would always stop at a local grocery store after we'd have a driver waiting for us, go in and pick up some fresh produce, some yogurt, and as much bottled water as we could get. There were fruit vendors out on the street. You could get fresh fruit for little or nothing. So we had plenty of fresh fruit accessible. But when you start getting out into the highways and the byways, so to speak, the village that we adopted is out in the bush country in Senegal, West Africa. And Senegal is the fabric center of the world. Some of the most beautiful and vibrant colors of fabric, and some of the most skilled seamstresses that you would ever see. They can look at something, sketch it out for you, take your measurements, and then you pick out your fabric at the fabric mart. And before you leave, maybe we usually stay 7 to 10 days, they'd have garments for us. Their way of saying thanks would be to give you a garment because they didn't have anything else. They wanted to give you a garment. They wanted to do something. Usually when we traveled, we would pack as many things as we could. Those that had donated, the things that we were looking for were for soap because they didn't have enough soap to bathe in, shampoo, conditioner, deodorant, Tums for upset stomachs, and aspirin, new and used eyeglasses. People are hurting for things that we think so little of. So our missionary outreach projects, we began working and they continue to this day. Some of the projects that we engaged in and that we supported, one was an anti-malarial program where the young man that we connected with, he connected us with a doctor and a couple of clinics that could help us to make sure that we were giving people what they needed. There have been so many people that have given financial contributions over the years, as well as items. When we get to Senegal, we would purchase things that the people needed that we couldn't carry over there. And so some of the projects that we were able to do was the anti-malarial project, which still continues. And that anti-malarial project, it does two things. Sometimes we give oral medication through the doctors that we have met over there. but most of the time it's just the purchase of mosquito bed nets, big, huge nets that they put over their beds when they go to sleep to keep them from being bitten by mosquitoes, which surely 9 times out of 10 will carry malaria. So many deaths that can be avoided by purchasing a mosquito bed net that is $2, which will cover several people while they sleep under that net. Those nets are infused with an repellent so that the mosquitoes, even if they land on it, they would go away. So we did that. We also sponsored in the village that we adopted a program in the school. I went into the school by me being an educator. They had a little rickety building. The desks were broken. There were overcrowded, maybe 60 children in a classroom sitting on broken benches. They just wanted to learn. Every child in their classroom, they were riveted on their teacher, but they had the poorest of poor, little pencils that were just like nubs, just broken down. And you see one child using it and he shared with the next child. It broke my heart. It broke my heart because we see kids throwing out stuff, not using supplies, didn't care about anything. I looked at the feet of the children. I looked at how their noses were running with thick green mucus because of infections that they had. We had to do a sanitation and education program where I had all of the mothers in the village and talked to them about how their lifestyle perpetuated these infections. Walking barefoot in the same sand where your chickens and your goats, their waste material, and you're walking barefoot. You're being contaminated through the bottoms of your feet. And I had to show them how to properly do that. We had a program where we purchased materials and had them build little corrals and pens for their goats and little yards to keep their chickens in so they wouldn't be walking in animal waste. We also had a need to read project. After several years of just purchasing basic school supplies, every kid in that school received enough supplies to last them until we returned the next year. We did this for like 7 years running to make sure that those children had supplies. We repaired desks, we purchased desks, we repaired chairs that could be repaired, we purchased chairs. We sponsored the building of toilets so that the kids wouldn't have to go out into the bush when they had to go relieve themselves. They would go out into the bushes. We commissioned the digging of a well. My youngest daughter and I were there the year that we dug the well, and we actually had the privilege of having a shovel to scoop a few of those shovels of sand up to see that these people could have water to drink. And we take water so for granted. We prepared and delivered hundreds of what we refer to as bags of hope. The bags of hope contained essentials like washcloths, soap, toothpaste, deodorant, Tums, aspirin, Band-Aids. These we passed out to lepers on the streets, hand sanitizer or wipes, just things that we take so for granted. You can make a difference. Were there critics? Absolutely. People were saying, oh, I'll go over there, but I'm going to shop. I don't want to have any parts of that. But most people are moved with compassion and they wanted to do what they could do to help. And these are people that have lent support year after year. We stocked the clinic. They have a small clinic in that village. If you open that clinic and went in there, it would break your heart. The exam table was so old and rickety and rusty and was held together by duct tape. We purchased a new exam table, new scales to weigh the babies, and stocked that clinic with the help of that doctor with everything they need. Many people sent bandages and we purchased some things after we got there because it was too difficult to transport, things like rubbing alcohol or peroxide. Some things we purchased after we arrived there, but we sponsored the stock the clinic. I didn't realize until about my third visit after we had adopted that village, and I would hear the children chanting, something, and I didn't know what they were saying. And I asked our interpreter and our driver, what were they saying? And he said they were saying Mama Soap is here. They had started referring to me as Mama Soap because they knew that whenever we came, there would be huge blocks of soap. And when we go back to check on them a few days later, everything in that village would be scrubbed. There'd be laundry hanging out. We'd always go back do a second pass through. The hair, you didn't see the sand mites. These are people that are celebrating because somebody's bringing them soap. And so what we started doing is collecting toiletries from everybody. All of us who traveled just saved those sample toiletries. We had literally hundreds and hundreds of bottles of shampoo, hundreds and hundreds of bars of soap. Yes, they were small, but this is something that they valued. We didn't use it. We didn't even think about it because that's not the brand that I want. They were so happy to get the things that we take for granted. We did many things, dental supplies. My sister and I sponsored families. One young man, I sponsored him to complete his education. It was a child, same age as my granddaughter. His mother could not afford to feed him and take care of his medication. He was diabetic. His father had died from untreated diabetes, and he was on the road to the same thing. And I sponsored that child to make sure that he and his family had nutritious food for 9 years every month. And it wasn't just a little chicken change, chump change, but my heart, I couldn't know that my children and grandchildren were laying down every night with all that they need, little tummies full, clean clothes, a clean bed to sleep in. And here's a child. No, I know there are millions of others, but this is one that I know and that I came in contact with. And I had to do what I could do. I'm happy to say that he has finished college today. He's able to help take care of his family. And so, we set up programs that have led to several students going to school to further their education so that they could get a job to help support their families. Oftentimes, we packed as many T-shirts and pairs of shoes as we could, because when we were there, not only were we giving everything else that had been donated away, but we'd give out our last pair. We got so many pairs of gym shoes, and we'd only come back with the pair that we had on our feet. So we've had some very rich experiences. And as I said, no experience is wasted if we learn from it. And yes, you can make a difference in the world, not the whole world, but you can make a world of difference for those that you are able to reach and give encouragement and support to. And I do want to say to each of you, we're never too old to give back. There's always something that we can do. There's always someone we can connect with and support them. We're not always goers, but we can be senders. We can help those that are able to go. And I do want to just tell you, we're never too old to give back. And I told you that I retired from my job in 2006, but I didn't really get it right. In 2015, to date, I've been in semi-retirement. I'm currently working as an adjunct faculty member in the College of Education at DePaul University, because someone who knew me and heard about what I was willing to do to help students asked me if I would join as an adjunct faculty member. And since 2015, I've been able to support and help train student teachers as I serve as their field supervisor. Now, fortunately for me, and it's not something that we wanted, but I've been in schools all over Cook County, up in Lake County, out to Rolling Meadows, in Orland, just about every school district, all throughout CPS, and helping to train. I have 6 student teachers now, and that just brought me up to a total of 102 young adults that are going into the realm, into the ranks of professional educators. We need them. We need them. And we need you, because it does take a village to raise a child. I continue to stay actively engaged with my home assembly. I'm a member of Christ Temple Church in Robbins. I serve as the church's administrator, the president of the Women's Auxiliary, and also the superintendent of the Sunday school department. So there's much to be done. Amen. Just don't overload yourself. But there's so much to be done, and there's so many people that are willing to reach out for help. And it's up to us to not close our ears or our heart so that we can really help to live up to that. It takes a village to raise a child. And every child belongs to all of us. We may not realize it. Some of us have not acknowledged it, but every child belongs to us. And I'm going to stop right here because I know we started a little bit late, and I wanted to just pause and see if anyone has any questions or comments before we turn it back to Mrs. Lawson. Okay.
Wait,
Excuse me. I had a quick question.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Don. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead. I didn't know anybody. I was trying to see who anybody's hand that was raised. So go ahead.
Oh, okay. Such an inspiring life. Very inspiring. I was wondering. My question is, are these efforts ongoing? Is there a way that we could donate or give to the efforts in Africa, as far as the mosquito nets? That really touched me because it's something so simple that we get at the dollar store that is literally life or death for someone else. So just the efforts, everything is just really beautiful. And if there was a way that we could give, or regular people could give, is there anything?
All of us regular people, we really can. And I'm going to give Mrs. Lawson all of that contact information. But however, yes, and we do still every year, we have a couple of barrels. Haven't traveled the last few years, of course, not only because of the pandemic, but in latter years, my parents were elderly and they both since transitioned. And I did what I needed to do to help my siblings take care of our parents before they passed away. And so we do have a system set up now where we have a man who goes back and forth to Senegal. He picks up huge barrels that we purchase and we stock with supplies, and he drives them, kind of takes a 3-day journey, but he gets to Baltimore, Maryland, and those barrels are loaded on a ship, and they end up over there, and then our contact person receives them and makes sure that they're distributed. And yes, we do. Any toiletries, nothing is, 1 or 2 bars of soap. There's nothing that's insignificant. Financial donations can be made to Friends of McDade, because that's the way it started. Friends of McDade, that's MC, capital DADE. And Mrs. Lawson can give any of you my address if you would like it, and you can get it to her, and she can get those items to me, or I'll arrange to pick them up from you.
Thank you.
And thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Garrison.
It's my pleasure.
Dr. Appleberry, you had a question?
Yes. I have a comment. I just want a declaration to say thank you. I want to thank everyone that's on the platform today, and my heart go out to you, Evangelist Star Lawson, for the invite. I asked about Dr. Garrison because I always care both of you guys in my heart. And I asked about you, and she shared with me, will you be on the program tonight? So I want to salute you as well as the others. Dr. Garrison, it's so good to hear that you're still dealing with the malaria out there with the people. Oh, God, you just don't know. Even one of my administrators, Sally, asked about you. I said, because we got to do something for out there. But what I want to do, because last time we really spoke, it was during the time one of your sisters, I don't know if that was your only one, but she had passed. That's about 7 years ago.
Yes.
And since then, a lot that happened in my life as well. But what I want to do is that, because Evangelist Lawson shared with me that you take on students, prepping them for college.
Yes.
And so how many students do you have at this time? Are they going out this year? Have some going out to college this year?
You know what? I want you to call me so we can talk about that, because we
Okay.
want to be fair to the next person that's coming. And
Okay.
let's talk.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Because I want to give scholarships in your sister's name.
Oh, thank
Wow.
you. Thank you so much. We'll talk. Thank you. Everything is greatly appreciated. God
Yeah,
bless
yeah.
you.
And I'm gonna do my part for Africa anyway, but I wanted to do that for your sister because that's
Thank you.
what I remember. Yeah, God bless and thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Thank you,
Thank
Mrs.
you, Dr.
Lawson.
Askelberry.
Committee
Thank you,
member.
Dr. Garrison.
You're more than welcome. My pleasure.
Okay, if Millie, you had a question. You're on mute.
Mhm. Thank you. You are so inspiring, so very, very inspiring. And I don't have a whole lot, but I would like to make a monetary donation. So I'm so close to Star Lawson. I know I'll get the information and um, um, give that donation along with a card just to help out in any small way I can.
Thank you so much. There's no amount that's too small. It will all be received. And every penny, I tell you, my sister and I have poured, I can't even begin to tell you how much over the years, but every penny is an investment to give someone a better outlook in life. And it just gives people hope. And that's what it's about. Like I said, you can't change the whole world, but you can make a world of difference to the ones that you're able to encourage and give them some hope. Thank you, Mrs. Lawson.
Thank you, Dr. Garrison.
I did have a question, Star. This is Donna, or just a comment. Basically, I appreciate your detailed history of your life and your background. That was very interesting. All of that information was just astronomical. It was right on point, and it shows your range of how far you worked with children and the youth and other ages just doing your missionary work. And I know for a fact that's something. I know they always say that if you do one mission, you'll be that won't be your first time because
You'll
your heart's be
never,
so
you'll
heavy.
never be the same.
You'll never be the same. It's like so. With my mother, she has a friend. I don't know if you've heard of her, Pastor Crosley, and she has a big following that she goes down to out there in Africa, and it's like when she went that first time, she just had to go back, and she's been going back for 20 something years. So I just appreciate it. And one of these days, I do want to do a mission. I just don't know if I'm able to continue on as much as I would want to. Once I see it, I know my heart will be heavy and want to do more. So just by me donating like I do now, and then I definitely would love to donate to your program, that would be great. And then I also like the fact when you was talking about the homeward bound, how you were helping the youth at that time doing your education, teaching them. I think that's something that's very important because I don't know if they still have something like that going on these days.
Yes,
They do?
yes.
Okay, because I just haven't heard of it, but that's a good program to know that those that might not be able to make it to school are still have someone coming to their home to pick up their.
Most districts have it, and usually as students need it and they really qualify for it, the counseling staff does let them know about it. But most districts, they are supposed to make provisions for students, and most of them do.
Okay, that's good. Good to know. I never heard of that, but that was good information to know. So I wanted to thank you again.
And when I say that Dr. Garrison is an unsung hero, she really is. She's made some unrecognized contributions right here in our own community because I know of her going with dinners to feed the firemen. Some people don't even think about that, but Dr. Garrison does. And I'm sure that there are many other things that she does, but again, she's not looking for any fame or acclaim to her work. So we are so honored, Dr. Garrison, to have you with us tonight and to be sharing your story. Thank you.
Oh, you're most welcome.
And I will move on with our next speaker is the awesome Monica Gordon. Um, Monica is a resident of Chicago Heights. She was elected to the Prairie State College Board of Trustees in 2021. She currently serves as the Director of Community and Government Affairs at Chicago State University. Prior to her time at Chicago State, she was the Executive Director for the Illinois Legislative Black Caucus Foundation. Monica is active in the community and serves on several boards, including the Chicago Southland Economic Development Corporation, Girls for Science, and Plan for Success. She is a candidate for the 5th District Cook County Commissioner with a broad level of support in her quest to succeed the retiring Cook County Commissioner, Deborah Sims, who says Gordon is the most qualified and the best candidate for the 5th District. She earned a Master of Arts degree in Communications and Training from Governor State University, as well as a Bachelor of Arts degree in Journalism from Northern Illinois University. Monica also interned with WGN TV. We're so honored to have you, Trustee Gordon, and we want to hear your story. And you're muted.
I'm so
Unmute.
sorry about that. Thank you so much, Miss Starr. Thank you, Miss Mildred, Donna. And I want to say, Dr. Garrison, I was blown away by your presentation today. And I as well would love to donate to help you in your fight to eradicate malaria. I think it's an honorable cause. So, you know, please add me to that list of supporters and donors. I am very honored to be here today. I'm very surprised that you guys would even think of me to speak today. So, you know, to speak about my journey, to speak about my life and the things I've done. And I feel like I have so much to learn and so much to do. There's so much more to my journey, God willing. And I love to learn from people like you, Dr. Garrison, as well as you, Miss Starr, Miss Mildred. So I'll just tell you guys a little bit about me. I grew up on the west side of Chicago. My mom was a UAW worker. I get my work ethic from my mom. And even though I get my work ethic from my mom, I can't say I have as much work ethic as my mom because I've never known anybody that works that hard. She did what she had to do to take care of us. I was always a intellectual learner, meaning that or curious learner, I should say. I was very inquisitive. It was times when my dad would come home with movies, the VHSs. And, you know, I'm like excited. He's like, yeah, I got Prince and a Popper. And I'm all excited to watch it. And he was like, oh, okay, make sure you pay attention. You go do a report after it's done. I'm like, what? And then, you know, they got me encyclopedias and I'm excited about that. But then I realized if I'm just sitting around not doing anything, he'll be like, go learn something. So at an early age, I became very curious to learn. I used to do science experiments at home. I created my own newspaper with a little narrow spelling paper. So I went to Lane Tech High School up north, which is a selective admissions high school. And quite different from some of the schools that were in my area. And that kind of leads to my journey in equitable education. And so I went to Lane Tech. I actually went to Grambling State for 2 years. Then I transferred to Northern for the second 2 years. And then how I came to the Southland was in grad school. I went to grad school at Governor State. So I was about 23 when I went to Governor State, I believe. And I love the Southland. I thought it was untapped opportunity in the Southland. And also I love to serve. Community service has always been a part of my background. Even when I grew up on the west side of Chicago, I used to volunteer for the West Side branch to the NAACP. I learned about service from my family, helping people in the neighborhood with the block parties. Also, on Martin Luther King Day, that's a tradition for me to do service. I will pack bag lunches and give them to people. So I just love to do service. So when I got to the South Suburbs, one of the first organizations that I served was PADS, Public Assistance to Deliver Shelter. and which I got to learn a lot. And I feel like the homeless community is very judged. And a lot of us are just one paycheck from being homeless. That you should not judge. What we should do is help people. And that's how I ended up getting in politics, believe it or not, because of my desire to help people. I never thought that I would be a candidate. I wanted to help other candidates. I wanted to be behind the scenes and do the business of politics. So I did medical sales and pharmaceutical sales for some time. I'm a people person. I love to network. And then I took a risk. I don't have children. I'm not married. So I was able to just take a risk and go to Springfield and learn about lobbying. I worked for free for the first year, volunteered for some of everyone, legislators. I volunteered for the Black Caucus Foundation. And that's how I ended up becoming the executive director of the Black Caucus Foundation, where I learned so much. I'm so grateful for that opportunity. And then I threw my hat in the ring. I ran for state senate. I was unsuccessful in that campaign, but I tell you what, the guy that beat me in the race, Senator Patrick Joyce, I support wholeheartedly. He's done what he said he's going to do, and he supports me in my race for Cook County Commissioner as well. And like I said, me being a people person, I'm also about seeing other people win, especially seeing women that look like me and women who don't look like me win. I have this mantra I go by called confidence, courage, and camaraderie. And that's how I live my life. You have to be confident. You have to believe in yourself to do whatever it is you want to do. You always have naysayers saying what you can't do. But if you have this innate ability to believe in yourself, there's nothing you can't do. And it gives you the courage to do whatever you want to do. It's been plenty of times when people told me, oh, you can't do that. You shouldn't try to do it, whatever. If it's something that I believe that I can do, I'm going to do it. And I may not succeed the first time, but it's all about perseverance. And camaraderie is, I'm a girl's girl. I love hanging out with other women. You'll hear people say like, I can't hang out with women. They too messy. Well, you might be part of the mess. If you're not part of the mess and you're about seeing each other win, you'll always run into energy that is the same as yours. And if we help each other, I don't believe in competitiveness amongst each other, because what's meant for you is meant for you. I believe in helping each other to get to where you want to get. And it always comes back to you. And I truly, truly believe that. And I'll talk a bit about my role at Chicago State University. I'm the Director of Government and Community Affairs. So I do a lot with legislation. If there's legislation that's favorable to the university's interests, then that's the legislation that we'll support in Springfield or advocate for. We also advocate for state appropriations. Public universities are funded by tuition and fees and also state appropriations. So that's very important. And this year, Governor Pritzker has proposed a 5% increase to higher education. That doesn't happen often. So that was a big deal. I get to learn so much in my job and meet some really cool people. So I'm having a good time. I work hard. I won't say that I don't work hard, but I'm having a good time and I get to learn something new every day. And I really, truly enjoy that. Some of the boards I sit on, I'm the treasurer for the Illinois Democratic Women. I'm a proud Democrat. I definitely believe in democratic ideals. Some of the things I'm serious about is education, economic development. That's how I ended up working with Reggie Greenwood on the board for the Chicago Southland Economic Development Corporation. And I'm sorry, I know I'm talking a mile a minute. I'm just trying to get everything in so you guys can get to know me. And in case you have any questions, and hopefully I can get to know you as well. And my mom lives in Michigan, and my little brother lives in Michigan too. My dad lives here. And like I said before, I don't have children, but I think it is important for me to mentor others, to mentor the youth, because I think about some of my mentors in life. I've had some of the best mentors ever who really took me under their wing and taught me. And I take ownership of my development too. Like I said before, I'm an avid learner. I'm about, reading and exposing myself to all that I can to make me better, to increase my skill set. So that's pretty much about me. Do you guys have any questions, or is there something you feel like I didn't cover or didn't share?
Monica,
Okay, go ahead.
go right ahead, Dr. Gwen.
Okay, I want to tell you congratulations, and I salute you, and I know everybody on the platform here. You have a great, and that's just a partial resume. You did wonderful. I'm proud of you, and whatever you're doing, you continue to do it. You
Well, thank you
continue to
so
do it.
much, Pastor Appleberry. I truly
Yeah,
appreciate that. Thank
yeah.
you.
I'm gonna give you my information. I'm gonna put it in chat because if you need me, I do a lot of things out here in Chicago. But I appreciate you and thank you very much,
No,
and
thank
continue
you.
on.
Thank you.
Yeah, continue. Yes, yes,
And
yes.
I just want to say that I've had the opportunity to meet you twice. I met you
Mhm.
through Reggie Greenwood as well,
And
and I know,
you helped me win too.
yeah, that I did too. And we got Yvette Warren, us from Chicago State Alumni Association. We will be working very closely with you as well. So I
Yeah.
want to just say thank you and keep up the good work. All
Thank
right.
you so much. Thank you.
All right.
I wanted to say that I really enjoyed your enthusiasm for what you're doing. And I tell you, with that skill set and that love for reading, that's one of the things that I always promoted with my children, and I continue. I've always been an avid reader and wanting to know what's going on around me. All of us, we have to be lifelong learners, and you got the youth and the energy to get a lot of things done. So we'll be pulling for you and cheering you on as you go forward.
Oh, I appreciate that, Dr.
Really
Garrison.
proud of what you've done as such a young woman. Just so happy to see your engagement in public service.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I, for one, congratulate you and support you. I've met you a couple of times, and I love and totally fascinated over your energy and what you want to do and how you have your accomplishments. It's very, very inspiring.
Well, I appreciate that because you know I love me some Miss Mildred.
Miss Millie. Sounds more youthful.
I have something. So your resume is simply impressive. You are a complete inspiration. I'm right down the street from you, obviously University Park. So besides even all of that, you just are such a down-to-earth, approachable person. And that is so big. Just even in the role that you are, I just see your face. I just see really great things, and it's just an honor to meet you. I hope we can connect further, but I'm just beyond inspired. I'm a girl's girl too.
Okay,
You're welcome.
so we gotta hang out. We gotta hang out. Let's do it.
For sure. But you are an absolute encouragement, inspiration.
Thank you.
I must agree with, is it Malika?
Yeah, that's right, Malika.
Malika, I must agree. I've only known you, Monica, since the pandemic.
Well, we met right before the pandemic, right?
At the golf course.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a few days after that they shut down everything.
It was when it first started, before the shutdown.
They were actually shutting down the day we were in the golf course.
Yeah.
Because we had to leave. They told us we had to leave. But just even from that first meeting, I knew our spirits met. And I knew that God had a work for you to do. And I have felt like that ever since. And so I really feel honored that you've come on to share your story. And, as Malika said, your personality, you meeting people, you're just so accessible. And that's a wonderful thing that is just not so with all of our elected officials. You know that. So
it's making me feel real good right now. I'm encouraged now to get out there and do more because of this.
Well, you have one up on a lot of the elected officials, and your level of engagement
Yes.
is second to none. So I'm encouraged by you, and I know that the people you will come in contact with, and those of us that you will serve, we will be served well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have questions or comments?
Yes, this is Clyde and Deborah Poe. I want to thank Evangelist Starr for the invitation. Very informative, very nice meeting both of you ladies, Miss Gordon and Dr. Garrison. Starr, we will be in touch with you. We would like to, support Dr. Garrison and her efforts,
Okay.
and anything we can do to help, we appreciate it. And like I said, we really, really appreciate it. And you women make us very proud just being in your company. Really appreciate it. Greatness in the making.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to meet all of you this evening.
Yes, thank you. This was awesome. Thank you so much. I am so grateful for this opportunity to talk to you all. And please don't be strangers. Let's definitely keep this open dialogue.
Yes. Mr. Penn.
Yeah, I wanted to say hi to my dear friend Monica Gordon. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine. I am. Listen, I want to tell y'all for first-hand experience. This lady is the goods. The GOODS. I'm trying to tell y'all, this lady is the goods. What did I tell you, Monica? Right after your last election, what did I tell you? I told her that she had to me, the brightest future of any elected official in the region. This is the lady. I say nothing else. I love her. I love her passion. I love her work. She is truly, truly a caring individual about the people. And I would just urge everybody, please vote for her. Tell your mama, tell your sister, tell your auntie, grandma, baby girl, tell everybody. Vote for this woman.
Yes.
And well,
Vote for
thank
this
you
woman.
again for making sure, helping me be successful in my last election. I won't forget it.
No, well, listen. That's old news. That's old news. I want you to make some new news. But listen, I got on late and I could not resist the opportunity to say hi to you and all of that. So I'm obviously wishing her the very best. My expectations are extremely high. She's walking in with endorsements from Commissioner Sims moving forward. So I know that she's going to do an excellent and wonderful job. So I just want to say hi to you, Monica. Give me a call when you have time.
Thank you.
Okay.
Can I say just one thing real fast? I'm sorry, this is Cheryl Roop.
Okay, go ahead, Cheryl.
All right, some people know me more as a school board member in the local community, but Monica, I'm the executive director of Jones Memorial Community Center, which is in Chicago Heights. So even though we can't vote for you in Will County here, I will spread the word at the community center.
I appreciate that, Cheryl, and let's definitely connect as well.
Sure.
Star, if you would share my information with everyone, I would really appreciate that.
I certainly will.
All right, thank you. It was nice meeting you on here tonight. I know we're actually on Facebook, but it's nice to meet you more in person.
It's nice to meet you in person. Well, semi-person, virtual person.
Yes.
Well, our next Congresswoman, you heard it here first.
Now, Mr. I don't know about all that.
Yes.
You heard it here first on Community